Hello and welcome back to the next session in this master's class. In this session, we're going to do a deep dive into YouTube, but we're going to focus on content and creative strategy best practices for YouTube. Let's get started. So we're going to have two learning concepts in this session. The first module concept, we're going to help you understand how a brand should distribute their content on YouTube. So I'm going to introduce the Hero, Hub, and Help framework. In the second module concept, we're going to help you learn the creative best practices around YouTube. So it's the ABCDs of YouTube creative best practice. Let's get going. So in the first module concept, I'm going to introduce again the YouTube content distribution strategy. This class will focus on best practices around creative and content. So it's the Hero, Hub, and Help, as well as the ABCDs. Really, we want to help lay the foundation that a brand needs to maximize on YouTube. Let's get started. So, making content doesn't mean that people will actually see it. And the problem is you're competing with so many different content creators on the internet and in YouTube. So YouTube, they have the stat here, but there's 100 hours of content that's uploaded every single hour. So you're competing for attention inside of there. So it means that you have distribution and community strategies are absolutely critical for success. You need the right strategy. And I'm going to show you a few examples. So here's an example of Dove. I'm going to show you in these next two slides. Dove is one of Unilever's brands. And they first created this video in 2013. It had 15,000 views. The video was okay, but it was something, could it go viral? That's what you need to think about. Let's take a look.
God, that's a tough question.
So I wouldn't think I've got anything beautiful.
Go on,
actually.
find something.
No.
Oh, yeah. I think all her skin is just amazing.
Thank you. I'm sorry to be crude, but I'd really like your butt. She's got a really nice butt.
Actually, I've never known that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite
There you
nice.
go.
She's got a beautiful face and quite smiley eyes as well.
I would have your legs. They look much better in a pair of jeans than mine do.
Your nose is better than my one.
Oh, we've both got big noses. Our whole family have big noses.
She's got bigger boobs than me, so.
I'd rather have
I'll be happy if I look like my mum when I get to my mum's age.
Love you. Love you. I feel a bit emotional.
So they have the URL at the end. So it was a video that was really asking people about what they think of themselves and then of others, trying to promote image. So the second video I'm going to show you, and I want you to think of this from the user's perspective, but what is it that they do and why do they use what is it that they do and how did they get this video, which had 63 million views, to be so much more powerful? All right. And let's see how they did it.
I'm a forensic artist. Worked for the San Jose Police Department from 1995 to 2011.
I showed up to a place I'd never been, and there was a guy with a drafting board.
We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us.
Tell me about your hair.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
It kind of protrudes a little bit, especially when I smile.
Your jaw.
My mom told me I had a big jaw.
What would be your most prominent feature?
Kind of have a fat, rounder face.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
I would say I have a pretty big forehead.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm gonna ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm gonna ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin, it was a nice, thin chin.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke.
Cute nose.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
So here we are. This is the sketch that you helped me create, and that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
So yeah, that's...
She looks closed off and fatter, sadder too. The second one looks more open, friendly, and happy.
I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and the friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right. And we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
Yeah. So very powerful. Very, very powerful. You can see why it had many more views than the first video. Went viral. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about YouTube from the user's perspective. What is it that the user does, and why do they go to YouTube? So, people come to YouTube for the following main activities. First, they want to browse. They want to discover inspiring new content. They come to watch what is recommended. The second thing is they may tune in. So that's maybe visit their favorite YouTube content creator, things that is consistent that they see every single week. And the third thing they come to YouTube for is to search. YouTube is one of the world's second largest search engine, actually. So they seek to find content that will help them find their solutions to their hardest questions. So these are the three main reasons that people come to YouTube, which is important for you to understand the context of the user. Because now I'm going to show you the concept known as the Hero, Hub, and Help framework. And let's look at that in more detail. So, what are the basics of this, right? First, we've got Hero. So this is about creating great ads that inspire. So it's your main advertisement that's going to inspire something. So like that Dove video, okay? It's by a brand, but it's really inspirational quality content. The next is then Hub, and that's where people come to watch content that is interesting to them, but it's regularly updated. Okay, so that's the key. And that's why I call it Hub. It's content worth returning to subscribe to, like, or follow. So you have to think about that. How would you create content like that? And the last is Help. So this is really about educating, answering the questions that people have. So people may search for things, you want to answer those questions. And I'll show you examples of how this is done. So again, here's an example for Maybelline. So on the Hero, they created a high-end production to launch their new line, Make It Happen campaign. For the Hub, they constantly create entertaining series of women who talk about makeup my way. So each lady talks about how they use makeup, how they put it on. It's content that's updated regularly. And for the help category, it's really about how to put on makeup. So video clips to present tutorials on how to put on makeup. So a great example of how Maybelline addressed the Hero Hub and Help framework. Now I'm going to show you some actual live videos that'll really get you inspired. But this is from Volvo and Volvo Trucks. So let's see how they did the Hero video. This is an example of Hero. Let's take a look.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time? And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time? We are
Okay. Powerful, right? So this is help. And let's see how they help people. Again, it's about answering questions. Okay, so let's see how they do this. So again, highlighting the features of their truck, but putting it out in a way that answers a question, because people may search for how does it work. Let me see examples. And these videos help address that. And last but not least is a hub example. So again, hub is about producing routine content that people would be open to following and watching on a routine basis. For trucks, it's probably hard, but let's see what they tried to do.
Uptime is not just about keeping the truck on the road to make money. It can also be a matter of life and death for both the driver and the cargo. A sudden, unplanned stop in a remote location can be devastating when transporting livestock, for example.
Okay, so you can see it's a series that they created. It's all about the trucking community, trucking lifestyle, trucking best practices, etc. So it's useful information that would be worth following. So again, that's what you have to ask yourself. All right, so that's Volvo. So let me just summarize this. So use different content distribution strategies to meet different purposes. All right, so the Hero video, that's going to run a few times a year. It's going to coincide with your large product releases and campaigns. It's expensive, big, and splashy, right? So it kind of goes, up and down throughout the year. Don't do it all the time. The hub videos, they are always on, and produce on a routine basis. So whether it's once a week, once a month, etc. And then help, that also is an always on activity. So you need to have all of your videos that answer questions. They should be online on YouTube all the time. The volume of the video depends very much on how many different people are typing, are searching for certain things. And it'll vary industry to industry. All right, so that's how you can put the Hero Hub and Help framework into actual strategy throughout the year. All right, so brings us to the end of this concept. Now it's time for you guys to take this short activity. So in this module, again, we presented the Hero Hub Help content distribution strategy for YouTube. I want to test your understanding of this concept, so please answer these questions. And what I want you to do is come up with your own examples of a Hero Hub and Help concept from one of the following companies. So choose one of them. Lazada, Seekster, a law firm, Stanford University. Okay? So these are one of the industries or specific companies that I want you to address. Come up with just, put your creative thinking hat on and come up with a Hero Hub and Help concept. Please remember to upload it into Blackboard and we'll review it in this week's tutorial. Thanks a lot. And now let's get started with the next module concept. And in this module concept, we're going to again present the YouTube creative best practices. We're going to review the ABCDs. It's a framework by YouTube, and it's really the foundation that a brand needs to maximize their impact on YouTube. So the key to getting people to view your ad for the maximum amount of time is to follow these ABCDs of YouTube creative best practice. And let's review what they mean. So A is attract. So this is really about opening with impact. You have to have a hook. Okay, so it's making sure that people, you can attract them in those first 5 seconds and throughout the video. The B is brand. So introduce your brand. You need to do it naturally and intentionally, which is okay. And I'll show you an example of that. C is connect. Essentially there you want to hold the attention with emotion. So it's about connecting to them with emotion, similar to what Dove did. And the last D is direct. So that's where you need to give the users a call to action. You have this video, let's have them click at the end. Let's take some action. All right, so let's look at some examples of each. So we'll start with A, attract and an impact. So again, it's how can we attract users to watch in the very beginning so you make an impact immediately. And let's look at this YouTube storyboard example. So this is a great template that you can use, and I put it in your activity at the end. But whether it's a 60-second, 15-second, or a 7-second bumper ad, you need great impact. So the opening, you have to catch their attention with something that will entertain or interrupt them. Okay? And then hold their attention. So we'll look at a 60-second video as well as a 7-second bumper ad. And you can see how they both use this opening, story, closing framework. All right, so this is a longer 60-second version of a video by Pampers. And let's see how they did it. Okay, fun. But again, it grabs your attention. Okay, so now another 60-second video example. This one was made for the Super Bowl. I want to show you the first version, the full 60 seconds, and then we'll show you the bumper cuts. Let's take a look. And again, you can see here how they use the framework. Okay, the opening, impact, and then closing.
No, I can't forget this evening or your face as you were leaving. But I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always smile, but in your eyes your sorrow shows. Yes, it shows.
It's hard to resist great taste. Meet the Ketchups.
All right, so you can see how they use that framework call to action at the end. Let's now take a look at the shorter version. So again, with that 60 seconds, they're able to cut it down into a bumper ad, which is 7 seconds. And again, it uses the same framework. Let's take a look.
It's hard to resist great taste. Meet the Ketchups.
Right? So you can see how they did that. Okay, so this is, again, attract. Now let's look at brand, the B. All right, so this, again, is about getting your brand up front, be persistent, and visually. Let's do that in a visual way. Let's review some examples. So let's look at an example of this, and this is about how we position our brand. It's from a telco in the Philippines called Smart, and they bring their brand in the very beginning. It's a longer video, but I'll just note how they bring their brand in the very beginning. Let's take a look. And there it is.
Ano bang problema mo? 5 years na kayong wala.
Wala? Wala na ako, Nip.
Oh, tapos...
Like ko yung photo niya eh. Paano yan? Isipin nito, di pa ako nag-get over. Ayoko na mag-mukhang better. Hindi naman eh. Uy! Uy! Uy!
So they have the brand at the front, and they also have it sort of throughout, and then the brand at the end. But it's really best practice to bring the brand in the beginning and have it persistent throughout the video, and then obviously at the end with the call to action. All right? So very important to make sure you have the brand there. Now I'm going to show you an example of Coca-Cola. So again, how they have the brand persistently throughout the commercial. Let's take a look. That's it. Very short, all about the brand. But you can see how it's the brand with the experience. All right, so that's, again, brand B. Now let's take a look at C. Best practice around connectors. And this is really about making hooks. So you want to basically get people hooked on the video, and bring them in to make sure that they watch at least 5 seconds or ideally the whole video. We'll show you some examples. So one key thing that you need to make sure that you do is only give one unique selling point at a time. So if you have a video ad, and I'll show you a few examples here, the one on the left, let's take a look.
We offer you hot meals served with warm and genuine smiles.
Okay, so again, it's all about the hot meals. Let's see this one.
A perfect landing on a perfect flying solution. SpiceJet app.
All right, so this one was about hot meals. This one was about the app, okay? So again, the idea there is that just present one call to action, one main message at a time. All right, so now this is about capturing attention. This is a great video. I love it, by Google Photos. So this is a great way that, again, they get people hooked and keep them in. Let's take a look.
Right. Ready, set,
Laura's holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa all by her. Dang it!
Come on! Free up space and never run out of storage again with Google Photos.
Okay. And then the last but not least is direct call to action. So you need to make sure that you have a call to action at the end. And ask people to buy, ask people to purchase or fill in a form or take an action. All right, you got them to watch the video. Let's now get them to take an action. All right, we'll look at some examples of this. So in this slide, I want to show you an example about a YouTube TrueView or TrueView for action ads. It's a feature that allows brands to place an overlay call to action on the video itself. So we can also overlay targeting based on what people search, websites that they visit, and their intent to purchase specific products. So again, people that had searched for things like cheesy pizza, etc., you can now have this overlay sit right on top of the video. So maybe they don't want to watch ad, but purchase right now. So again, a call to action. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this concept, and now I want you to do your own activity. Again, it was about the ABCDs, best practice, creative best practice on YouTube. So I want you to basically create your own video, all right? So to help you do this, I need you to fill in this attached table with ideas for YouTube ads. You can choose one industry or brand, something that you're passionate about, and think about a, whether it's a 15-second or 30-second video. I want you to think about the opening, right, and the description of the dialogue. What is it that you want to say in the beginning, and what type of action, that they would see visually. Again, for the story, okay, then what is it that you would want people to say, and what action would you want them to do? And then the closing, okay, what is it that you would want to say? And that's where you have your call to action at the end. And then visually, what would they see, right? So do your best to fill this in. You can download it and copy and paste this this table into a separate slide, so you just have more room to fill it in. All right. So that's the exercise. Please remember to upload it back into Blackboard so we can review it during the weekly tutorial. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this session on YouTube's content and creative best practice. Thanks again.